Listen to me, the first step to keeping your focus on you until you win is discipline. Discipline is everything. Discipline is that thing that doesn't feel good in the moment, but pays you back later with interest. It's the alarm clock that rings at 5 in the morning when you don't feel like moving. It's the decision to work on your craft when everybody else is chilling. It's the choice to sacrifice comfort today so you can enjoy freedom tomorrow. Discipline is not sexy. Discipline is not easy. But discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you say you want to be. Some of you lose focus because you keep waiting for motivation. Motivation is temporary. But discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. There are mornings I don't feel like getting up. There are days I don't feel like grinding. But discipline doesn't ask me how I feel. Discipline asks me, what's the mission? What's the goal? Who did you say you were going to become? And when I answer that question, I already know what I have to do. I don't negotiate with it. See, when you rely on your feelings, you're inconsistent. When you rely on discipline, you're unstoppable. You can't win depending on mood swings. You win by depending on your standards, your habits, your non-negotiable. You said you wanted to graduate, but that paper isn't going to write itself. You said you wanted to start that business, but those hours aren't going to put themselves in. You said you wanted to get fit, but those reps aren't going to lift themselves. Discipline says, I'll show up whether I feel like it or not. And when you show up long enough, something magical happens. You build momentum. Momentum is the reward of discipline. Momentum is when your actions start working for you instead of against you. At first, it's heavy. At first, it's hard. At first, it's slow. But if you can just keep pushing, if you can just keep showing up, if you can just keep saying yes to your goals and no to your excuses, you start rolling. And once you're rolling, it gets harder to stop you. Momentum makes discipline easier. Momentum makes focus natural. And that momentum only comes when you make the decision day after day to discipline yourself before life disciplines you. I need you to hear me on this. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is love. Discipline is saying, I love my future enough to protect it from my present temptations. Discipline is saying, love myself enough to deny myself right now. When you discipline your child, you're not trying to hurt them. You're preparing them. When you discipline yourself, you're preparing you. You're saying, I see a bigger version of me in the future, and I'm not going to let my laziness, my distractions, or my feelings rob me of that. That's love. The problem with some of you is you keep giving in to short-term pleasure, and it keeps costing you long-term progress. You keep trading the dream for the distraction. You keep trading the goal for the gratification. You're too quick to say, I'll do it tomorrow, not realizing tomorrow never comes for the person who doesn't master today. That's why discipline is so important. Discipline doesn't wait for a perfect moment. It creates the moment. Discipline doesn't wait for things to get easier. It makes you stronger. Let me be real with you. Success is rented and the rent is due every day. You don't get to pay it once and coast. You don't get to show up one week and disappear the next. You don't get to practice sometimes and expect to perform all the time. That's not how it works. You pay every single day with effort, with focus, with discipline. And if you skip a payment, life will remind you. Discipline pays the rent for your dreams. Think about the times you gave up too early. You were right there. You were on the verge of breakthrough, but you stopped showing up. And you didn't stop because you couldn't. You stopped because you wouldn't. Discipline would have kept you there. Discipline would have pushed you through. Discipline would have told you, we've come too far to turn back now. That's why I'm telling you, you can't let discipline be optional. It's got to be your default. Now, some of you say, but I don't have time. No, you do. Discipline creates time. Discipline says turn off the TV and use those 2 hours. Discipline says stop scrolling and use those minutes. Discipline says wake up an hour earlier or go to bed an hour later. You have the same 24 hours as everybody else. The difference is how disciplined you are with them. Some people win with less because they're disciplined with what they have. And some people lose with more because they waste what they have. And let me tell you, the world is watching. People don't respect talent without discipline. They don't trust potential without discipline. You can be gifted, but if you're not disciplined, you'll be inconsistent. And inconsistency kills trust. Opportunities don't stick around for people who can't be counted on. Discipline makes you reliable. Discipline makes you dependable. Discipline makes people say, that's the one I want on my team because they show up no matter what. But don't get it twisted. Discipline is not about perfection. Discipline is about persistence. You're not always going to get it right. You're going to slip, you're going to fall. But discipline doesn't let you stay down. Discipline tells you Get up. Let's go. We've got work to do. Discipline doesn't let failure have the final word. Discipline says, we're not done until we win. And I know some of you are tired. You've been fighting, grinding, sacrificing, and you don't see the results yet. But hear me, that's when discipline is most important. Discipline is not just for the beginning when you're excited. It's for the middle when you're exhausted. It's for the nights when you don't see the fruit yet, but you keep watering the seed. It's for the mornings when your body says stop, but your spirit says keep going. That's discipline. That's the difference between those who almost make it and those who do. When you discipline yourself, you're telling life, I refuse to be average. You're saying, I refuse to let my story end in excuses. I refuse to let distractions write my obituary. Discipline is your declaration that you're serious. And when you're serious, life gets serious about rewarding you. So if you hear nothing else from me today, hear this: discipline is the foundation. Discipline is the start. Discipline is the thing that keeps you moving when motivation runs out, when the crowd goes home, when nobody is clapping, when nobody is checking for you. Discipline is what keeps you focused on you until you win. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how talented you are, how gifted you are, or how lucky you are. It's about how disciplined you are. And when you master discipline, you master your destiny. Let me tell you something. One of the biggest reasons people never get to where they're supposed to be is because they keep looking left and right instead of straight ahead. They keep comparing themselves to everybody else, and it's killing their progress. You can't keep your eyes on the finish line if you're staring at somebody else's lane. That comparison is stealing your energy, stealing your focus, and stealing your time. And the crazy part, most of the time, you're comparing your behind. The scenes with somebody else's highlight reel. You're looking at their results without seeing their process. You're looking at their chapter 20 while you're only on chapter 2, and then you wonder why you feel behind. Listen, the only competition you should ever have is the version of you from yesterday. That's it. You don't need to run against your friends, your coworkers, your classmates, or strangers on social media. You need to run against yourself. The goal is to wake up every day and say, am I better than I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you're winning. If the answer is no, then you've got work to do. But it's not about them. It's about you. Comparison makes you bitter, but focus makes you better. The moment you start measuring your progress against somebody else, you lose sight of your own. It's like running a race and spending the whole time looking over your shoulder. You're slowing yourself down. You're wasting energy. You're not even running your best race because you're too busy worried about somebody else's pace. And here's the truth. You don't even know where they started. You don't know what battles they had to fight, what sacrifices they had to make, or what pain they had to endure. You just see the results and you think it happened overnight. You don't see the process. That's why comparison is a trap. The moment you stop worrying about who's ahead of you, who's behind you, who's doing more, who's doing less, that's the moment you free yourself. That's the moment you can actually lock in on your own journey. Because when you focus on you, you start to grow. You start to notice your own progress. You start to appreciate how far you've come. You stop being jealous of their wins and start being grateful for your own. And when you're grateful, you move different. You work from a place of peace instead of pressure. Some of you can't win because you're so busy trying to prove yourself to other people. You're chasing their approval, their validation, their applause. But let me help you. They don't matter. Their claps don't make you, and their silence doesn't break you. You don't need them to approve what you're doing. You don't need them to co-sign your dream. As long as you believe in it, that's enough. You're not running for them. You're running for you. You're not building for them. You're building for you. Stop giving people the power to decide how you feel about yourself. When you focus on others, you invite insecurity. You start doubting yourself, questioning yourself, hesitating when you should be moving. You start thinking, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm too far behind. Maybe it's too late for me. And none of that is true, but you believed it because you were looking at somebody else's paper instead of focusing on your own. When you focus on you, you realize you got everything you need to win. You realize your timing is perfect for your journey. You realize your gift is enough. Your effort is enough. Your story is enough. And let's be real, sometimes the people you're comparing yourself to aren't even that far ahead. They're just loud. They make it look like they're winning bigger than they are. They show you the car, but they don't show you the debt. They show you the smile, but they don't show you the tears. They show you the wins, but they don't show you the losses. And here you are, feeling small, comparing your reality to their illusion. You've got to stop giving energy to that. You've got to remember that what matters is what you're building, not what they're showing. You've got a lane, and that lane has your name on it. If you stay in it long enough, consistent enough, disciplined enough, you'll get to your finish line. But the moment you start drifting into somebody else's lane, you risk crashing. You risk losing everything because you're not where you're supposed to be. That's why focus is critical. Focus keeps you grounded. Focus keeps you steady. Focus keeps you from self-sabotage. Think about a farmer. A farmer doesn't plant seeds in one field, then run to his neighbor's yard every morning to see what's growing over there. No, he works his own land. He works his own land. He trusts that in time, his harvest will come. That's the mindset you need. Stop running next door to check on somebody else's harvest. Stop getting jealous of somebody else's crop. Focus on watering your own seed, and in due season, you'll reap your reward. And don't confuse focus with isolation. I'm not saying you can't learn from people. I'm not saying you can't be inspired by people. I'm saying don't let that inspiration turn into intimidation. Don't let their success make you doubt your own potential. Let their light remind you that yours can shine too. Let their win remind you that winning is possible. But never let it make you forget that your path is your path. Here's the truth: the moment you stop comparing, you take your power back. You take your joy back. You take your peace back. You take your confidence back. You're no longer running their race. You're running yours. And when you run yours, you run free. You don't have to worry about their timeline, their pace, their applause, their criticism. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other every single day until you win. So hear me well, your competition is not them, it's you. Your standard is not them, it's your potential. Your measure of success is not them, it's whether or not you gave everything you had. If you can wake up and say, I'm better than I was yesterday, then you're on the right track. If you can go to bed at night knowing you gave your all, then you're winning. Stop comparing. Start focusing. Stop doubting. Start growing. Because the moment you keep your eyes on you, you'll realize you were never behind. You were always right where you needed to be. And that's when you finally start running at your full speed. Because the only race you're meant to win is the one against yourself. Your energy shapes your results. I need you to understand this because too many of you are working hard, but you're not working smart with your energy. It's not just about how many hours you put in. It's about the quality of those hours. If your mind is scattered, if your spirit is drained, if your body is exhausted, I don't care how long you sit at the desk, you're not producing your best. Focus thrives where your energy flows. And if your energy is all over the place, your focus will be too. See, every day you wake up with a certain amount of energy like a battery. And the truth is, some of you are wasting that energy on things that don't move you closer to your goals. You spend too much time arguing with people who don't matter, scrolling through feeds that don't help you, worrying about problems you can't control, entertaining distractions that don't pay you. Then when it's time to put energy into your dream, you're on empty. And you wonder why you're stuck. It's not because you're not talented. It's because you keep giving your energy away to things that don't deserve it. You've got to protect your energy like it's gold. Because it is. Your energy is the fuel for your focus, and your focus is the driver of your future. When you waste energy, you weaken focus. But when you guard your energy, you strengthen focus. And when your focus is strong, you move mountains. Some of you don't realize how powerful you are when your energy is right. You've had those moments. You were locked in. You were clear. You were unstoppable. Everything you touched worked. Every step you took was in rhythm. That wasn't luck. That was energy. That was you showing up with your mind sharp, your spirit strong, your body ready. And if you could live in that zone more often, imagine how much further you'd be right now. Imagine what you could build, what you could accomplish if you weren't letting negativity and nonsense drain you. You've got to stop letting people steal your energy. Every time you argue with someone who doesn't matter, that's energy gone. Every time you give attention to negativity, that's energy gone. Every time you let somebody talk you out of your dream, that's energy gone. And you don't get that back. You've got to learn to say, no, I can't let you take that from me. No, I can't let you distract me. No, I can't give you my time, my peace, my focus. Because I need that energy to win. And then hear me. It's not just about protecting energy from people. You've also got to protect energy from yourself. Your habits, your choices, your routines. They either charge your battery or they drain it. Staying up all night on nonsense drains it. Eating whatever you want drains it. Neglecting your health drains it. Waking up with no plan drains it. Then you wonder why you don't have the energy to grind. But when you take care of your body, when you fuel it right, when you rest it right, When you plan your day instead of letting the day plan you, that's how you create energy. It's not about being busy, it's about being productive. Busy drains you, productive fuels you. Busy feels heavy, productive feels light. Busy is scattered, productive is focused. Some of you are running in circles, exhausting yourself because you've confused motion with progress. That's why you feel tired all the time. You're moving, but you're not moving with intention. But when you align your energy with your purpose, when you put it where it belongs, you stop spinning in circles and you start moving forward. You've got to check your environment too. The people around you, the spaces you spend time in, the conversations you entertain, they all affect your energy. If you're always around people who complain, you'll feel drained. If you're always around people who gossip, you'll feel empty. But if you surround yourself with people who encourage you, challenge you, inspire you, your energy rises. That's why you've got to be intentional with who gets access to you. Not everybody deserves a seat at your table because not everybody adds to your energy. Some people subtract, and you've got to be wise enough to know the difference. And let's talk about your mindset, because energy doesn't just come from the body, it comes from the mind. If you're always thinking negative, always expecting the worst, always doubting yourself, your energy will reflect that. But when you shift your thoughts, when you start speaking life, when you start seeing challenges as opportunities, your energy rises. That's why some people walk in a room and light it up, while others walk in and bring it down. It's not magic, it's mindset. The energy they carry is contagious. So ask yourself, what kind of energy do you carry? When you walk in a room, do people feel uplifted or do they feel drained? When you work on your dream, do you bring passion or do you bring excuses? When you face obstacles, do you carry faith or do you carry fear? Because the energy you bring to a situation often decides the outcome. If you show up defeated, you'll lose. If you show up hopeful, determined, focused, you'll find a way to win. This is why you can't just grind physically. You've got to recharge mentally and spiritually too. You've got to do the things that fill your soul, the things that give you peace, the things that remind you of why you're fighting in the first place. Maybe it's prayer, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's reading, maybe it's quiet time, whatever it is. You've got to prioritize it, because when your spirit is strong, your energy is unshakable. And when your energy is unshakable, your focus is untouchable. That's when you get into the zone where nothing can move you. The setbacks come, but you don't lose your rhythm. The distractions show up, but you don't lose your drive. The obstacles appear, but you don't lose your vision. Because your energy is aligned with your purpose, and your purpose keeps your focus steady. I'm telling you right now, the difference between average and extraordinary isn't always talent, it's energy. Some people win simply because they outlast. They've got the energy to keep going when everybody else quits. They've got the energy to keep grinding when others get tired. They've got the energy to stay consistent when others fall off. And that energy comes from focus. It comes from discipline. It comes from protecting what matters and ignoring what doesn't. So if you're serious about winning, stop letting your energy leak. Stop pouring it into distractions, negativity, and nonsense. Start investing it in your goals, your growth, your health, your peace. Because when you get your energy right, everything else falls in line. Your energy is your power. Protect it. Use it wisely. Direct it toward your purpose. Because at the end of the day, your energy shapes your results. Persistence turns struggles into strengths. That's it. That's the whole game. You've got to get to a place where quitting is no longer an option, where giving up is not even on the table. Because the truth is, life is not going to hand you victories. It's going to hand you struggles, challenges, setbacks, disappointments, and roadblocks. But persistence is the thing that flips it. Persistence is the thing that takes those very struggles and turns them into the muscles you need to carry your dream. Most people don't lose because they're not talented. They don't lose because they're not capable. They lose because they don't stick around long enough. They let one no stop them. They let one failure define them. They let one bad season convince them that it's over. But persistence says, no, I'm not done yet. Persistence says, I don't care how many times I fall, I'm getting back up. Persistence says, you can knock me down, but you can't knock me out. Think about it, everything worth having takes time. A seed doesn't turn into a tree overnight. A building doesn't rise in a day. A diamond doesn't form without pressure. And yet, when it comes to our dreams, we want it quick. We want it easy. We want it without pain. But persistence says, I'll wait, I'll work, I'll endure. And because you're willing to persist, you get what others never will. Persistence is not glamorous. It's not flashy. Nobody claps for persistence. People clap for the win, but they don't clap for the countless nights you spent grinding. They don't clap for the mornings you got up after failing yesterday. They don't clap for the tears, the sweat, the moments you almost gave up but didn't. Persistence is lonely. Persistence is quiet. But persistence pays. Some of you think struggle means you're on the wrong path. No, struggle is the path. Struggle is the proof that you're pushing against resistance. And resistance is necessary for growth. You can't build strength without resistance. You can't develop character without pressure. You can't learn resilience without struggle. That's why persistence is so powerful. It transforms struggle into strength. Every time you push through, you get stronger. Every time you keep going, you build endurance. Every time you refuse to quit, you become the kind of person who can't be broken. And listen, I'm not saying it's easy. There are days persistence feels impossible. Days when your body is tired, your mind is heavy, your spirit is low. Days when nothing seems to work. Days when you feel like you're doing everything right but getting no results. Those are the days persistence matters most. Anybody can keep going when it's good. Persistence is proven when it's bad. Persistence is when you keep moving even when you can't see the finish line. I need you to get this, your breakthrough is usually right after your breaking point. Most people quit right before it's about to turn. They give up right before the blessing. They throw in the towel right before the door opens. Persistence is what keeps you in the game long enough to see the reward. You can't win if you're not there when the opportunity comes. You've got to persist through the pain long enough to experience the promise. Some of you have been praying for strength, asking for resilience, begging for growth. And the way life gives you those things is through struggle. You don't get stronger without being tested. You don't get resilient without being stretched. You don't grow without being uncomfortable. The very thing you're trying to avoid, the struggle, is the thing that's shaping you into who you need to be. Persistence is you saying, I trust the process even when it hurts. Think about a boxer. They don't win by never getting hit. They win by taking hits and staying in the fight. Persistence is your ability to take the hits life throws at you and keep swinging. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to take losses. But persistence says, as long as I'm still breathing, I'm still in it. I'm not leaving this ring until I win. That's the mentality you need. Persistence changes how you see failure too. Most people see failure as the end. Persistence sees it as feedback. Persistence says, okay, that didn't work, but I'll adjust, I'll adapt, I'll try again. Failure doesn't scare a persistent person because they know failure is part of the formula. Every failure is just another step towards success. Every setback is just another setup for the comeback. That's the mindset persistence gives you. You've got to stop asking, how long will it take? And start asking, how far am I willing to go? Because if you're only willing, go for a little while, you're not going to make it. But if you say, I'll go as long as it takes, I'll fight as long as I have to, I'll persist until it happens, then nothing can stop you. The clock doesn't decide your victory. Your persistence does. And let's be real. Persistence isn't just about you. When you persist, you inspire others. Your persistence shows your kids possible. Your persistence shows your family what's possible. Your persistence shows your community what's possible. People may not tell you, but they're watching. They're drawing strength from your persistence. They're learning how to fight because they see you refuse to quit. That's why you can't give up. It's bigger than you. It's not just about your dream. It's about the people connected to your dream. It's about the lives you'll impact when you win. If you quit, you're not just quitting on yourself. You're quitting on them too. Persistence is not selfish. Persistence is service. It says, I'm going to keep going not just for me, but for everyone who needs me to win. So I need you to make a decision today. No matter what comes, I will persist. No matter how many times I fall, I will rise. No matter how long it takes, I will endure. No matter how hard it gets, I will keep pushing because persistence is the difference maker. Persistence is what turns your struggles into your strengths, your pain into your power, your losses into your lessons. And when you master persistence, there's nothing life can throw at you that can stop you because persistence always wins.